All right, so today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to dive into this really bizarre B-movie horror script and just pull it apart. See what makes it tick, right? We're going to look at its structure, its super weird themes, and this kind of chilling eco message that's hiding under all that classic camp fodder horror stuff. You know, every great scary story, it starts with a hook, something that just pulls you right in. In this script, it uses a super classic setup. You've got a group of friends, they're in a remote location, and you get that creepy feeling that they're not alone. It's a familiar vibe, for sure, but it works. It immediately sets this tense, uncertain mood. But right away, this story takes a hard left turn into the really weird. I mean, this one line, "he became a tree," what does that even mean? It totally establishes the central, bizarre mystery we're about to get into. It's strange, it's confusing, and honestly, it promises one heck of a ride. Okay, so let's back up and start at the beginning. The story kicks off with a scene we've all seen before, right? A bunch of young friends, they show up at this secluded campsite, all ready for a weekend of fun. But here's the twist. The campsite, it's owned by Rachel's uncle, a guy who's just mysteriously vanished. And this right here, this perfectly captures how the tone starts to shift. At first, the friends are just goofing around, joking about all the classic horror movie tropes. Mad scientists, serial killers, the whole shebang. But you can see how that creepy atmosphere of the woods starts to sink in, and suddenly, that playful fear, it turns into genuine, uh-oh, this is weird kind of unease. So the script starts dropping these little breadcrumbs about Rachel's uncle. He isn't just missing, he's a total enigma. We find out he's this naturalist who's, obsessed with trees. Oh, and he also believed in aliens. And he disappeared over 2 years ago, leaving a fully stocked RV behind. Every single detail is like another piece of the puzzle, just adding another layer to this mystery. So, right as the friends are kind of settling in, thinking they know what's up, the plot just thickens like crazy. In walks this key character, Sheriff Poe. And he's not just there to, check on them. Nope, he's the keeper of the local lore, and he's about to drop an absolute bombshell of a story on them. I love this line from the sheriff. It captures his weird vibe so perfectly. When he says non-humans, he's talking about trees, plants, animals, nature. It's such a cryptic thing to say, and it immediately establishes him as someone who's deeply and maybe even a little too strangely connected to this patch of wilderness. And then, bam, the sheriff reveals the uncle's real identity. Dr. Ron Moss. So he wasn't just some naturalist. He was a doctor with this totally radical theory. He believed that trees were basically cosmic antennas, a way to talk to life beyond the stars. All of a sudden, the uncle's whole tree obsession doesn't just seem eccentric anymore. It sounds like it was part of some grand cosmic plan. So then the sheriff just lays it all out. He tells them the whole legend. Dr. Moss was completely disgusted with how humanity was destroying the environment. He believed this specific spot was a conduit to another world. And according to the sheriff, he actually succeeded. He willingly merged with the trees to become some kind of guardian. And in perfect campfire story fashion, the only proof, a video recording, was conveniently destroyed by Mother Nature. Right. So this is the big question, right? For the characters and for us watching. Can we trust this sheriff? Is he just some eccentric local spinning a spooky tale? Or does he know way more than he's letting on? I mean, his story is so detailed, so specific, it really makes you wonder if he's not just telling the story, but is actually a part of it. Okay, so the story now makes this huge pivot. We're moving from legend to reality. The friends, now armed with this absolutely bizarre tale from the sheriff, they head out into the woods. And what they find there, it's way more terrifying than any story he could have told them. And it all starts with Rachel. As they're hiking, she feels this strange, inexplicable pull towards one particular tree. It's almost like it's calling her name. And this is the first real concrete sign that her uncle's crazy theories, well, they might not have been so crazy after all. The supernatural is officially making contact. And this is the moment it all goes completely off the rails. Rachel touches the tree and she gets this terrifying vision, a warning. But her friend T, he's the skeptic of the group, and he just blows it off. He's like, I gotta see this. So he touches the tree himself, and he's just gone in a flash. No sound, no struggle, he just vanished. Okay, so from this point forward, the story just hits the accelerator and drives straight into absolute chaos. The whole group dynamic just shatters. Fear and paranoia completely take over, and what was supposed to be a peaceful camping trip turns into a desperate, terrifying fight for survival. Listen to this dialogue. It just perfectly captures the group's absolute shock and disbelief. They literally cannot process what they just saw. One second, their friend is standing right there, and the next, he's just not. It's this simple, terrifying reality that completely defies logic. This timeline, wow, it really shows you just how quickly everything completely unravels. We're talking less than an hour here. T vanishes. The sheriff very conveniently leaves to go form a search party. And then, in their grief and panic, Heather and DJ make that classic, fatal horror movie mistake. They run off into the dark woods. The aftermath is just chilling. The sun comes up the next morning, Sheriff Pooh returns, and all he finds is Rachel. She's the only one left, alone in a completely silent campsite, in total shock, and unable to really explain the horrors of the night. So, what was this all for? What's the point? The story's conclusion, well, it doesn't give us any easy answers. Instead, it leaves us with this ambiguous, really haunting message that actually ties all the way back to the beginning. Yeah, the results of that search party, they're as grim and absolute as it gets. This chart makes it crystal clear. T, Heather, DJ, Jordan, none of them were ever found. Not a trace. It's like they were just completely erased, leaving behind only Rachel and her terrifying story. And this is the why. Remember early in the script, Sheriff Poe mentions this absolutely staggering number, 78 million acres of rainforest destroyed every single year. This is what supposedly motivated Dr. Moss. So you see, this isn't just random horror for the sake of it. It's framed as cosmic retribution. The disappearances are basically nature, or something acting through nature, finally fighting back. So what really happened out there? The script, and this is what makes it kind of brilliant, never gives you a straight answer. It serves up this wild theory about aliens and tree phone lines, but it leaves the ultimate truth completely open to interpretation. So was it really extraterrestrials? Or was it all just a metaphor for a planet that's been pushed way past its breaking point? And the story wraps up with this classic, unresolved horror movie narration. From the sheriff himself, of course. It basically cements the events at Lot 24 as a local legend, right? A ghost story that gets whispered around campfires, forever unsolved. And that's where it leaves us. So what is this thing? Is it just a campy B-movie, designed for a few cheap thrills on a Friday night? Or is it actually a surprisingly effective piece of eco-horror, using the language of campfire stories to deliver a really potent warning about our relationship with the natural world? The answer, just like the fate of those campers at Lot 24, is probably lost somewhere out there in the woods.